Hey everyone, the A's have this press conference going on, but the it's a bugaboo to get it. This is KGO, and its feed is buggy. It keeps going in and out. So this was Dave Cavall answering questions, and so I'm going to refresh the screen and see if I can get it to come on in. Basically, I've already produced two items, primary items of content on this. This is the ballpark, the Howard Turnbull.
Oh,
Here it is.
I mean, one only has to reflect back 20 years ago before I came on the city council. You only had one grocery store that shut down, and their rationale for closing down was they didn't know how to market to the African American community, and then subsequently the growth of the Latino community that are in my district. So we have two. We have Food Max at Durant Square, and then we have Foodsco, which is a subsidiary of Kroger's, which is the largest operator of grocery stores. 80,000 square foot grocery store servicing the community. You got a Wells Fargo bank. Um, well, it's coming soon at Oakland Naval Hospital. You may have a Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or either Sprouts. They're all been in discussion with the developers of Oakland Naval Hospital, which is 915 units, 915 brand new homes, 80-some thousand square foot of retail. And part of that retail will be either Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or Sprouts, and 75 acres of open space. And you will continue to see the district I represent. We've built more affordable housing in my district than any place else in the city of Oakland. And you will continue to see additional affordable housing being built for residents who live here in Oakland who want to stay here. We just broke ground in 321 units of affordable senior housing up on 105th. You know, they're starting to demolish that site. You got the BRT system that's in place that's will be completed by December of next year. We've got other retailers that are looking. We've got one hotel that's under construction on Hagenberger with a third, since there's a shortage of hotel accommodation. So East Oakland has a sense of hope. You know, like I said, we've lowered the crime rate out in deep East Oakland, and we're building affordable housing. In the next 20 years, you won't even know East Oakland. I always tell people, you see what they're doing at the Oakland Army base, creating, you know, high-paying jobs. Then you've got all the economic development that are taking place in downtown Oakland and down here in Embarcadero on the port property, filling in the middle. And now with this incredible new baseball-only stadium going on, and then the only other place outside of downtown Oakland and Jack London Square for economic development is in the district that I represent. The port is looking at possible expanding, building a third terminal, building new hotels, new retail. So I am really excited. We've got 4 new car dealerships. We've got our own little small auto mall. We have interest by other auto dealerships creating jobs for Oakland residents, and particularly East Oakland. So there's some sense of hope, and like there is change that are going on in East Oakland will continue. 10 years, 20 years from now, you won't even know Deep East Oakland once that Coliseum vision that the A's have articulated what they want for that 100-some-odd acres is going to do for that community. And so you will have filled in the middle, the west, and the east, and you will change the city for a lifetime. There is a major hotel operator that's interested in taking part of Walmart, as well as a car dealership that the city doesn't presently have, that's looking at the possibility of taking the other portion of that old Walmart site.
Thanks. To the mayor and Larry, some of your county colleagues have questioned whether the city has the finances to actually buy out their stake in the Coliseum. So do you, and would the land deal at the Coliseum be a full-on sale to the team, or would it be sort of a long-term lease? That's question 1. And then question 2 to Dave and possibly Sess. Can you talk a little bit about how this rollout and this preparation has been different than that of Laney College months ago? Have you had direct conversations with the industrial neighbors who've raised concerns at the port?
I can start. So we have identified the financing structure to buy the county out. And so that is absolutely something that is feasible and is in the works. What was the second part of your question, Kimberly? Oh, we have not gotten that far. Part of the ENA process is discussing lease versus ownership versus a combination. So those will all be discussed as part of the negotiation process.
And then as it relates to, the difference between Peralta and DP Stoughton, the district in which I represent that the Coliseum sit in, is I wish all of you could have attended the meetings that the A's and myself hosted, well attended by residents that live in the neighborhood and talking about what they would like to see happen. The difference is that Peralta folks didn't want it. DP Stoughton, we want the vision at that Coliseum that the A's have articulated to happen.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there was one final piece on Howard, and Seth can comment as well. Yes, we've had outreach to all the stakeholder groups and the maritime and the port folks in and around Howard Terminal. We've had in-depth conversations with them. We've hosted salons on different items, whether it's environmental justice, making sure that the seaport has a bright future. And I think it's important. We learned from the Peralta experience how important that was. We've had a great partner in the port, and they've taken a leadership role with us in order to convene the people to have these in-depth conversations. And we'll obviously continue that as we move forward with the option agreement.
That's the main thing. The difference is that we're working with the A's to try to come up with a solution that's good for the A's, the community, and the Port of Oakland. We know that our first priority is for the port itself, but we've got an opportunity here with the help of the A's and the city and the county to do something special for the city of Oakland as well. So we're working with them as hard as we can, as quickly as we can, to finish the ENA and get it in a proper perspective.
And let me just make one final comment. I truly appreciate my colleague, Supervisor Nate Milan. He's the chair of the Joint Powers Authority that oversees the Coliseum. I'm the vice chair. We rotate every 2 years. Appreciate his leadership on the Board of Supervisors and others on the Board of Supervisors helping us to move in the right direction to make this become a reality, something that we all can be proud of. And be able to stand back and say, the legacy we leave is one that our children that's following us will be proud.
That's right.
That there was this incredible group of individuals, this team, the A's team, the Ports team, the City team, the Board of Supervisors team, that we all came together, was on one page in moving this vision forward.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. We have copies of the press release. We also have a progress report to detail how we have gotten to this point. It has a lot of information about our community engagement that Dave was talking about as well. We will do, Dave is available for one-on-ones as well. Yes, Erica has a...
Well, there you go, folks. That is that's the press conference. They don't have a have an exciting video out yet or anything, right? And A.L.'s cousin says, I find it curious they basically kept the lower bowl of the Coliseum intact, saving the space for future stadiums, just thinking out loud. Yeah, I wish that had been spelled out, because it looked like they were just basically sending the Raiders a message, hey, football's out of here, we just have baseball, because they have a baseball diamond there as opposed to anything implying a pro football future, right? That was interesting. To a degree, I thought was both interesting and questionable, as to why that would happen. Also, but the reason why the A's need that land is they need it for financing. What I mean by that is what they want to do, what they need to do, is they need to have enough of a spread of development. Basically, what they'll do is they'll take the net operating income, they'll take a percentage of the net operating income from each development, and they'll use that to finance the stadium. on top of land sales. So those buildings that they have in those artist renditions are privately owned buildings of other people, other developers who would buy that land. The money that's used from that purchase would go to the construction of the stadium. So because they say they need that land, what I'm thinking in my head is you're talking about a stadium that's not 500 million, you're talking about a billion. I would say easily a billion, probably a billion five, okay? I mean, that structure they're proposing there with those unusual materials, and those two buildings doesn't come cheap. That design doesn't come cheap. So you have to pay for it some kind of way. There's not enough land in Jack London Square to pay for it. The problem, however, is it sounds like either the city doesn't want to consider or use, and no one at the press conference brought up the use of, I would have if I were there, a redevelopment district in that area, because previous iterations of the proposal have have essentially laid the groundwork for redevelopment by establishing what the assessed value would be of the area. Redevelopment tax increment financing is what's been used in California and in Oakland. Is you have a base year assessed value, then whatever your current year is, you multiply the current year, or you subtract the base year from the current year, you get that increment, and you multiply that times the tax rate. What that equals gives you your revenue for that year. You do it each year. If you want to do it, you do it 40 years to estimate what your revenue stream is going to be, right? And that's the amount of money that you can use. And you would say, well, how can I do that if I don't know, what the increase in the value of the A's is going to be? Well, Prop 13 actually allows you to increase the value of the property by 2% each year, regardless of the market. The government can do that. So that's your baked in increase, So so what you guys think? You like it? Excited? Exciting? What? I think I'm going to come back and talk about this later. I apologize for not getting the whole press conference to you, but I'm in Georgia. This just got dumped, and on top of that, taking my stepdad to the airport, and now mom's back here. So you got all the other stuff going on here. So it's like scrambling around. But modern technology was able to bring it, talk about it, and this live stream is actually going to be on Zenny62 as well. Zenny62.com and OaklandNewsNow.com too. So it'll be all of those places. So, but my question is, are you excited about this project? I am. The Howard Terminal part, Coliseum part needs a little work. That's going to take some change, as per the nature of that. But I think it is quite. I can't remember a time in Oakland we've had as ambitious a plan ever, since the original Coliseum. That's how far back you have to go. We haven't had anything like that. Not even Jerry Brown's 10K program, which was really, that was ambitious in itself, but it came out in slowly, right? It came out, various developers picking it up along the way, and then I argue killing redevelopment actually stopped it, stopped its effectiveness, right? That's what happened in 2011, about a year after Jerry Brown became governor of California. But we haven't had, and then I'm thinking about City Center comes close. I would say City Center by Bromley. In fact, that's the other one, City Center, which was a group of Victorians before it was raised by the Oakland Redevelopment Agency in '68. Was an empty lot for a long, long time. Nothing was done. Okay, this is beyond that. This is not going to be, this is far beyond that. And I know among the people sitting there, Nate Miley will tell you, well, me, Libby, we've all been around long enough to remember those days and how Oakland was thought of. This is a new day. And not only that, this signals this signals a different, this signals what the Raiders didn't do wrong. Yeah, I think Al, you're right. A convention center at the Coliseum would pay. Yeah, absolutely. Just, and there's enough space there to do that, okay? But also, what you're seeing here, I think, frankly, is embarrassing to the National Football League and to the Raiders, because this is what they could have done. Nope, we never saw design from the A's. I mean, excuse me, the A's. Of course we did. We never saw a design from the Raiders. Okay, we never saw anything from the Raiders that indicated they really wanted to be here. We saw a lot of smoke and mirrors. We saw a lot of, you know, frankly speaking, dishonesty. All right, and we saw a lot of how would I say it? We saw a lot of not good faith bargaining, which is going to be the focus of this lawsuit, all right? Not good faith bargaining. So, and so I know Raider guy says, well, the A's will have the whole ballpark to themselves in 2020. Yeah, 2021, you know, or we'll see how that plays out, okay? I am going to have to sign off right now, but I will be back later today to talk more about this. You know what? Hold on a second. I think I'll do it another way. I'll be right back. I'll be right. I thought it was tied in with a microphone or something. I'm not. No, you know what? There's 15 of you watching now. While I'm going down the check on this, please write down any questions you have about this project. Oh, Al says, what's the latest the Raiders can sign a lease extension? The end, well, really, the beginning of January. They had said the end of December, but they could really go out, if the Raiders wanted to, they could go out to March of next year. They can go out that far. And right now, there's sort of a game of chicken because they were supposed to have a lawsuit announcement. Now it's going to be maybe mid-December, maybe. But I think what they're trying to do is wait out the Raiders and see what the Raiders are going to do. And then the Raiders are waiting out the city to see what the city is going to do. And the city has the luxury of actually waiting out the Raiders with respect to a lease, you know. So that's the latest. But that's the latest. March of next year. They could try to take it out to June if they wanted to. I doubt they'll do that. I would think by February the Raiders would start getting a tight neck, if you will, and patient and saying, you know, we need to wrap this up. And there's talk that the Fertitta brothers, Tillman's brothers, Frank and Lorenzo, have done a deal or may do a deal with Levi Stadium to bring the Raiders there on the way to that group in Las Vegas having some either partial or full ownership of the Oakland Raiders when they become the Las Vegas Raiders. The one thing that bothers me, something else that bothers me about the A's program, this is a huge something. We are losing out on valuable sports gaming revenues as a city. I'm not concerned about the A's. The A's have, obviously, the wherewithal to do this for themselves. But by tearing down the Coliseum Stadium, we lose out on valuable revenues from esports, from football in the future, from soccer, okay? At the time when other places, in the wake of the Supreme Court's decision regarding gambling, other places are already moving to take advantage of it. We're standing still, okay? Richard points out there's an esports arena at Jack London. Right, but the whole point is that there's no city, that's piecemeal. My point is there's no economic development strategy with respect to sports, okay? Everything is done piecemeal. The A's have their thing. There's this thing at Jack London, but there's no overall policy that points us to a bright future. Unknown Raider guy says, are you saying the Coliseum is being torn down for a new one? No. If you take a look at the artist rendition, they've got the arena, but yeah, they're tearing down the Coliseum, the stadium. They've got this little indentation from a ball field. We already have a ball field, right? But nothing for pro football or nothing for soccer. It's like the A's are actually killing our ability by owning the land and going through with that proposal to have any other sport in Oakland other than their own. And now you would say, can't they use it at their stadium? Well, can they? Because as I look at it preliminarily, it doesn't look like it's as flexible in its layout as AT&T Park is. I say that because I want to be proven wrong, because I want to drive us to a point where we're thinking logically about how Oakland achieves its future. And so Richard says, so what if leaving that field intact creates the footprint and open space for a future development? I want them to say that. I mean, I don't want to guess at it. I want that to be policy. In other words, we're leaving this for future development. We'll take X amount of dollars. We'll take X chunk, apply it to the new stadium. Okay? All right? So, but the whole point is, and I hear what you're saying, but I want that as policy. Is that what you're doing? Make that stated policy. Don't just kind of draw it in there as a cute little thingy, because it looks like right now you just basically erased the Oakland Raiders. I mean, I know they're trying to leave, but hey, suppose things fall apart. Maybe a meteor comes down and God forbid hits this thing, at the dead of night when no one's working on it and it's damaged. You never know, okay? Why kill pro football because a handful of people don't like it when in point of fact it's still growing? The NFL is not dead, folks. I remind you of this. It's still around. So, last time I checked, the ratings for the World Series were the lowest they've ever been. All right? So, the A's are going to get their great stadium. Awesome. Awesome. All right? So Richard says, I actually hope the West Oakland or Albany-based development plans include stadium options. The reason... Oh, no, Ray guy, the Warriors are leaving after this year. But a year from today, the Warriors will be in their new facility in San Francisco. Richard, we have a contract with the federal government that says that we have to replace the 2,400 jobs that were lost. And Alice Cousins says that NFL's not dead. That bowl is a template for future stadium expansion team. Well, if that's the case, that bowl should be designed not as a baseball diamond, but as a football gridiron. Make it clear, both in image and in policy, that's what you intend to do. I don't, look, it's the old saying, to assume makes an ass out of you and me, right? And you don't want to assume anything here. You want to make sure that this is a certain direction, okay? But God, that Howard Terminal Ballpark is beautiful, isn't it? That is so hot. I just thank you very much, Dave Cavall and the A's. I just have to say that it is just awesome. Just awesomely. And Oakland Mayor, got to thank the mayor, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaff, for riding this through, and Rob Bonta, and Nate Miley, and everybody else. All right, folks, I gotta take care of some business. I'll be back later. Thanks a lot. Oh, Al says the space is a template for baseball and football. It's just in baseball configuration now for the A's sake. But Al, again, I don't want you and I guessing. Only to be surprised in the okay. I want that as policy. Okay, policy is this is what we're going to do in writing. I don't want you and I guessing. Okay, if you ever, and don't do that in business. Never guess. Don't think. You know, I remember when I worked for Elihu, and this is no slam against the mayor, but it happened. It was when we were discussing the land conveyance for the Army base, to get it to where it is now, which is basically city land that that Phil Tagami has to develop. Still does, really, technically. But anyway, we had a meeting, about 24 of us in the room, various different city departments, including the mayor. So I'm sitting next to the mayor. And after the phone conversation, we spent another 30 minutes, no, 45 minutes, talking about the meaning of the phone call, what he said, everything else. And to me, it was a waste of time, because if you have questions about what you think someone else is going to do because you're not certain, you ask those questions during the phone call. You don't act like you're afraid to get out what you're thinking about. And that's what I took from that conversation, is a fear. Okay, it's like, hey, you know. Richard Hike says, I love the always open ideas like Petco Park. Yeah, no, this baseball design is hot. I'm telling you. I mean, it is sweet. It is so nice. It's going to transform that part of Oakland, and we need to have redevelopment. That needs to be a redevelopment area. We need to capture the property tax from that, and steer it toward the construction of affordable housing. Not doing that, not even proposing to do that, is irresponsible. Okay, it just is. So we need to bring back redevelopment, and we need to do that right now. Okay, right now. Al says, which way is center field facing? Center field is facing towards San Francisco. So if you take a look at the photograph, I'm just doing this from, yeah. If you take a look at the photograph, yeah, center field is actually facing, no, center field is facing not San Francisco, center field is facing the opposite. So it's really facing more to the east, okay? Richard says northwest. Yeah, I think Richard is considering orientation. I think it's more northeast, Richard. I think it's northeast, because if you take a look at it, behind it. Okay, this is what I'm looking at right here. All right. This is a small. Okay, but if you take a look at the larger picture, San Francisco's back here, right? Okay, Oakland is here. Let me see if I can find another, photograph to get that complication out of the way. If I can, to answer your question real quick before I have to jump out of here. But let's see here. Oops. Oops. Oh boy. Okay, hold on. See what we've got here. Yeah, I don't seem to have. There. Yeah, it is. That's San Francisco in the back. So actually, it's in a sense kind of turning its back to San Francisco, maybe. In a weird sort of way, right? Trying to get another better picture here. And ooh, it's one of mine. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, by the way, the A's have the full press conference on. Again, if you want to do it, watch the replay. Okay, they've got it right here, right now. All right. In fact, let me go while I'm doing that. Yeah, the roof garden is hot. Okay. Okay, so here, yeah, back here is San Francisco. So this, and that's north. Okay, so this is actually facing south. So this is southeast. So that's southeast. Okay. Yeah, dead center looks like, yeah, this is going to be, home runs are going to be hit basically into Jack London Square. Okay. Right. Just like in football, north, right. Exactly. Exactly. Now these have to, I didn't know if there were any clarification regarding what these were, hotels or what. All right, folks, I got to go, but I will be back later tonight. Thank you all very much for participating in this fantastic announcement. Go A's. Go Oakland. See ya.